Michelle. Michelle. Do you like scared?
Alright.
Try.
Rule number 1. It's rush. All rush, all time, no exceptions. Alright, as much as I love to just say that to you and call it my own, it's actually a quote from a critically acclaimed classic film entitled Fanboys. So if you haven't seen it, you really should, because it's highly enriching in education. But,
No, it's not.
but for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, who is Rush? Well, I can explain it to you. They formed in 1968 in a small neighborhood called Willowdale in Toronto, Ontario, which is in Canada. They're Canadian, which means one thing, they're all better than us. So, not really, but yeah. So, that just, and also the reference in the film, to backtrack slightly, shows that they are referenced in, even though it's subtly, they're referenced in culture, like pop culture now and then. TV shows like Family Guy and stuff of the like. So they're there, if you like it or not. So Rush is composed of a few folks. This is an earlier picture of them. Our lead singer and bassist, Geddy Lee, guitarist Alex Lifeson, and drummer Neil Peart. They whittled out a few other band members way back in the day and narrowed it down to really good guys, excellent at everything. So some of their original influences include bands that you all know, like Led Zeppelin and Deep Purple in their earlier stages. And as they defined their genre and their style a little more, they delved in like British revolutionist bands like The Who. And then they finally narrowed their style down and got it down to be progressive, so they got into prog rock bands and stuff like that. So their style is generally progressive, and it's influenced by a lot of ideas of philosophy and fantasy and science fiction, which makes all of their tracks unique in their own way, highly interesting. But yeah, so let's get into some albums that will lead up to the main album I'm going to talk to you today. Their debut album, their debut self-titled album, Rush, came out in 1974, which really set their career off, and it was really awesome. And it's hot pink, so it just makes it ridiculous. That was followed in the next year by their album Fly By Night, which is also highly popular, and there's a lot of very good tracks in that one. It's a favorite of some of my friends. In the same year, they came out with their album Caress of Steel, which I don't know, I really like this album cover. It's very like rustic and old-timey looking and interesting. The next year came out with one of their top albums, 2112, in 1976. Some of you might know, well, really, you probably know. Their main track, the 2112 Overture, which is one of my favorites. And then finally brings us to the album I will discuss with you today, A Farewell to Kings.
Because they're devil worshippers.
So, some of the main themes that are in this album include just the idea of corrupt politicians and leaders and like their fall, and the idea of wealth gripping the minds of the human. So, just a lot of sort of liberal ideas and stuff like that. It's interesting. And I would like to go through the tracks and explain them to you a bit, since you probably don't know much about it. The opening track, the namesake track of the album, A Farewell to Kings, sounds a bit like this. Now, this song mainly, it mentions a lot of things about like castles in the medieval setting. So it starts the album back in time, in the past, and The chorus includes the line, cities full of hatred, fear, and lies. So there's the idea of corrupt society and things like that, which are tied in with the main theme. The next track on the album, entitled Xanadu, which is mostly an instrumental, but there is actually a lyrical part in it, and I'll show you some of that. Now, this song is interesting because it makes a jump in like the time frame, because there's some like biblical references in the song, and it talks a lot about immortal beings. So it's still with a theme in the sense that it's talking about like your higher ups, even in like a spiritual sense. So there's really fascinating lyrics included in the song, and it's very colorful all over, and it's one of my favorites of the album. The next track, which is probably the most popular of the album, called Closer to the Heart, sounds a smidget like this. So, obviously I love this album. So, like I said, one of the most popular tracks from this album. As you can tell from the opening lyric, it's talking about powerful people who need to like put a positive movement on the people and get things started. It's very progressive and like speaking of the future and going like out and up. So it's still tied in with the main theme that your political up and ups need to be positive and actually do something with the power that they have. Following this track is entitled Cinderella Man. It sounds a bit like this. I'm not as familiar with it, but it sounds like this. This track is interesting because it kind of puts a twist on the main theme and aspects of this whole album, because it talks about a man who has money and wealth, but he also has a good heart and he wants to do good things with the power that he has. So it kind of twists the theme a bit and gives you a different point of view, which I thought was interesting, and it adds more style to the entire album. So basically it's just the idea that in the case that you have money and a good heart, the people would mainly expect you, if you have a lot of money, to be greedy and corrupt. But like when you actually do have a good heart, they'll be afraid of you and just kind of dislike you because it's not what they expect to see in a person of your status. So it's a really, I don't know, cool twist. Another twist, which is us. The following song is one of Rush's shortest songs, actually. It's only 2.5 minutes. It's entitled Madrigal. It's mainly about, well, let me hear a minute. It's a lot softer, and the song only consists of 2 verses. It's fairly short. But the song mainly, it just sets a scene in the medieval times. It talks about dragons and castles and stuff. So a lot of, like, if you enjoy things like the Renaissance Fair, Lord of the Rings, this is definitely your anthem. I think it just adds mainly to the setting of, like, the entire album and how there's that time jump within different periods. So that brings us to the final piece of the album, and one of the most intense songs. It's called Cygnus X1. And it's mostly instrumental as well, but here's actual lyric parts. It's very ambient and futuristic. was talking about the whole time jump, this song is based in the future, and it's a song that's about a man traveling through space, and you hear him referencing like different constellations and like star patterns, and it's just like this long journey of his through this like magical place in space. And spoiler alert, it also depicts his death as he gets dragged into a black hole and torn to pieces. But it really sort of reinforces that idea and the theme of dismay and destruction, imminent doom. And so it closes off the album in probably the perfect way. It's sort of bittersweet because it's such a majestic song, but it ends in such a hectic way. But also it's like 10 minutes long, so if you ever want to chill out, listen to this song. So, I've discussed all the tracks, so maybe you have a better understanding of them, whether you like it or not. So, as you can see, it has the recurring theme of falling, like upward person, and corruptness, and greed, and just dismay and destruction. So, you can really see that actually in the album cover. So, it's generally just very compositionally pleasing because you get pulled in directly to the subject of the piece, which is the king on his throne. And he has like the richest colors like in his dress and outfit. And he really sets a tone of like the medieval times, like in his throne and his outfit. And just the fact that he's a king, it's something you relate with that time period. But after further investigation, you realize that he's actually a puppet. You can see the strings attached to his limbs going up into the top of the piece. So there's that idea of manipulation and stuff in like politics and the government. So that's there. It's subtle, but once you notice it, it makes everything make a lot more sense. And you see that he's rather lifeless and limp, just in his throne, and he has like a creepy look on his face. And that generally just, there's the part of the theme where like he's kind of soulless, like, and lifeless, and like because of having all this money and stuff, there's just really no goodness in it. So there's that. But it's combined with modern times with the obvious modern buildings in the background of the factory, where there's like black smoke billowing from it, and it's starting to like corrupt the pretty blue sky in the background. And so there's that decaying and destruction. And that whole feeling is sort of instilled in like the textures of the piece, because there's a lot of rough textures in the dirt in the front and like the broken brickwork and everything. It's really rough and grungy. So it really instills that emotion. So obviously it appeals in pathos because there's just emotion in this piece. And like, you can really feel the brokenness and like the lifelessness and just destruction of society. And all of those theories, or all those themes are blended into this. So not only do each of the songs in their own way add to this idea, when you tie it all together with the album cover, it really sort of cements all these feelings, which I just found very impressive, and I enjoyed this entire album very much. And so, moral of the story is, you guys should probably listen to Rush. They're awesome. Highly enjoyable, and they instill a lot of really cool, fantastic ideas in